Jenna Jameson, adult star. You've heard of her with the porn movies. One of the big ones, one of the big actresses for her time period. Some great films in the adult industry, and she recently was going through situations of an illness, a mysterious illness, which was deemed originally Guillain syndrome and Guillain-Barré syndrome. Let me put that in the right perspective on there. Well, one of the first updates, the doctors have now ruled that out. It's not Guillain-Barré syndrome. And it was a misdiagnosis on there. Now, supposedly now she's on her way home. She lives in Hawaii. I believe she still lives in Hawaii. And basically, she's still unable to walk. This one here is from Newsweek, just recently. Jenna Jameson has revealed that she's left the hospital after weeks of treatment for a mysterious illness that has left her unable to walk. The former adult film star said in January that the doctors had diagnosed her with Guillain-Barré syndrome. However, her partner, Lloyd Bidson, later said this was a misdiagnosis and Jameson did not have the rare autoimmune disorder. On Wednesday, the 47-year-old posted on an Instagram story praising the nurses who had taken care of her at the hospital in Hawaii, adding that she was on her way home. My nurses here at the hospital are such fantastic people. She wrote, I'm leaving a piece of my heart behind them and I'm on my way home. In a social media post on February 13th, Jameson said she was doing well and should be home really soon. Earlier this month, the doctor said they're still looking into the cause of her condition. She remains bedridden. They are still searching for answers of what's going on. She says, I'm unable to walk. I have movement. I can't bear weight. Hopefully we'll have answers soon. Now, before any of you, before we go any further, when it comes to the jab, the COVID shot, and all that, she hasn't had it. So it's not COVID. It's not the COVID shot. So basically, it's something else. Bidson, with whom Jameson has a 4-year-old daughter, Bei Lu, has been sharing updates on her Instagram account, describing how the illness has affected her. He said in January 1st, her legs have become very thin. They're thinning down, so they've become super skinny. That's a major problem. She's also shared that Jameson's have been throwing up for a couple of weeks, prompting her initially hospital admission. According to Bidson, Jameson underwent a CT scan, after which she was sent home by doctors. Then she came back and couldn't carry herself. Her muscles, her legs were very weak, so she wasn't able to walk to the bathroom. She was falling on her way back. I had to pick her up and carry her to the bed, and then within 2 days, it got really not so good. Her legs started to not hold her. She was unable to walk. I did not get the jab or any jab, Jameson wrote since deleting the Instagram post. This is not a reaction to the jab. Thank you for the concern. Symptoms can last anywhere from weeks to several years, although diagnosed with potential fatal conditions, can make full recoveries and are left with permanent nerve damages. And this is going into the Guillain situation. See, the thing is, and this is one of the major problems with what's been going on. There are illnesses out there that have taken the back seat to COVID. And I'm going to say that it's taken the back seat. Cancer and liver situations and diabetes and many other things. Even the flu has taken a backseat to this whole situation, and that's a major problem. We have situations like this, and people say, well, maybe it's that she has AIDS, or these are symptoms that you would not get with those kind of illnesses. This is something possibly different, or something older that we haven't seen in a long time that's very rare. They're trying to figure it out. This is similar to some of the things that I've been through. Not what she, not saying lost weight, lost the limbs. I had some situations back a bit where they think I had a stroke and it wasn't a stroke, and it was a stroke and it wasn't a stroke. They couldn't figure it out. And the only reason why it was because when whatever happened to me a couple of years ago, I became a different person. It was like I switched on, and it was like a second identity, and I wasn't a good person. And basically, I fought my way to the hospital, and this was a while back, and it scared my wife to death. I tell you, it just really, she was heartbroken situation. She didn't think I was coming back from this, but I did come back. And still to this day, I have not gotten an answer. And this is, what is this, 3 years later, 3.5 years later, and I still don't have that answer. And that's prior to COVID. And the thing about it is, from losing the ability to walk, I can understand that from the edema that I had, where my legs blew up. Hers were shrinking down. I had the situation, my legs blew up, and you thought I had gained a shitload of weight. I was stuck on a sofa, which basically it was hard to get up and go to the bathroom. And it was one point where I fell off the sofa multiple times. That's how I ended up in the hospital, and I ended up in rehabilitation for weeks. And that was and I got released right at the point where all the COVID situations were getting crazy. They had shut down the rehabilitation center from anyone exiting. You were able to get in, but you were able to leave. So they got me out of there prior to that. And I think that's what they saw was coming. And they did not want to keep me there on the situation and do most of the work at home. And the thing about it is, it got to the point where even my nurse had to stop coming because of the whole COVID situation. Because they did, at that time period, at the beginning, we did not know. And this is the same thing with this. Jenna's doctors do not know what she's going through. They don't know what it is. She's lost the ability to walk. And for someone, let me tell you something. You know, they probably have her on a bag or something like that to basically or diaper to basically for feces and urine. That's not fun. I had to go through that. Through the whole entire rehabilitation. That is not fun, where I had to have somebody, and I'll tell you this, the people, and like she said, the nurses were great. The nurses that I dealt with were fantastic. They treated me so nice. You know, here I am, over 400 pounds. 400 pounds, and that's water mostly on there. It was like you minus about 100 pounds of fluid in my system. I lost that 100 pounds like that in just a couple of weeks because I was flushing it out through my urine and through exercise, so that at least it get to stream it out through the bloodstream and through the urine, through my kidneys as well. Because that's where they were stuck. It's stuck. There's a little bit stuck in my right leg still. And the only reason for that is, that's the last of it, because I still have a blood clot in that right leg. It's still there. It's a tiny one. It's a very tiny one.